Welcome to another Saturday live broadcast of unboxing something 1/6 scale or something thereabouts, and talking about whatever it is that happens to come to our mind, especially if it has to do with our hobby of collecting these wonderful toys that help us stay young and enjoy life. How are y'all doing? Hope y'all had a good week. Saturday, Sunday for some of you, if you happen to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning in Australia or thereabouts. I have a commercial. Interesting. Toys Mafia, how you doing, man? Good morning. Matt 2310, what's going on? Jake, how you doing? Very cold Pennsylvania. Hello. Massachusetts, cold and hot. Welcome, Martin. How you doing, man? Welcome to the channel. This will be the Iron Spider from the PlayStation video game. So the Iron Spider in this configuration was originally done in, I think, an Ultimate Spider-Man. I don't remember which. It's badass, totally badass. When he came about, an iron-suited Iron Man. Iron Spider, and so it was pretty neat when it came about. Now, so I don't remember if the PlayStation game was already out when this came out or not. Sentinel Re-Edit did this, and they don't necessarily make a accurate representation or replica of the figure or the character. It's more of an artist portrayal in that regard. So it will represent the character, but with a little twist to it, where it's not necessarily. So this is supposed to be 1/6 scale, but it's not really 1/6 scale. We talked about this when I unboxed this, and it works for me because it's still a good representation of what Spider-Man looks like in this Iron Spider. Which this was the Iron Spider before the Marvel Cinematic Universe made the Iron Spider. And actually, there's been a couple Iron Spiders through the comic history, but this was the armed Iron Spider before the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I bought this because it was cool, because it looked like from the comics, and I was pleased with it because of that representation that sits in a proud position on the shelf with the others, for many reasons, because he's Iron Spider and he's Spider-Man, and I don't have a problem with it. But when the PlayStation Hot Toys was announced, I was like, well, that's going to be a definite. So it's going to be totally unfair to compare it to this, because it's not even supposed to be an accurate representation of what it was created for in the first place. Even in comics, when you're reading the comics, different comic artists will render Spider-Man differently than other comic artists. So one will be a little more realistic, one will be a little more cartoony, the heads may be oversized, or the hands may be oversized, or whatever. So even in that representation of bringing our heroes or villains or whomever it is that we enjoy reading about, they're not always going to be an exact representation, or even each artist will go through and change something and make it his own or her own character in that regards. So you can't necessarily just say, well, this is how it has to be every single time, no matter what, unless we're talking about straight up movie actors and actresses who have portrayed a character in their likeness, and then you really do want to stick, in my opinion, with a little more accuracy in that regards. But when you're just doing cartoon characters or something where, there's still an interpretation as to what it's going for, unless you're doing an exact Todd Mcfarlane or an exact Rob Liefeld or whatever, unless you're trying to 100% duplicate that, you still have some sort of religious license there to be able to change things and make it your own. So that's what this Spider-Man represents in that regards. The re-edit Sentinel, and it's their interpretation of that Spider-Man. So now this is supposed to represent the Spider-Man from PlayStation 4. I assume, and I think you guys have told me this already, the PlayStation 5 is supposed to be the same carryover so it'll be the same characters in that regards to the PlayStation 5 version of the game. So I would expect this to be a little more faithful representation of what was depicted in the PlayStation video game, Spider-Man video games. And I've not played the Spider-Man video games. I would gladly play the Spider-Man video games. No doubt about that. I waste my time on other things. I don't have a PlayStation. I've considered buying one for my wife. I don't know whether she. I don't think. Matter of fact, I don't think she'd be able to play at all now. She had. I think I told you guys about the fistula I put in her arm. Lost all feeling in her left hand, and on Thursday night she's got this huge bruise or something on there. So she goes back to the doctor on Tuesday to look at that again. Evidently not life-threatening, otherwise they would have sent her to the hospital. And they're probably going to remove it. Fun. You know, always nice when you go through that entire process just to have them say, yeah, that's not going to work. So now she wouldn't even be able to hold the joystick to play the game. So I'm glad I didn't invest whatever it is, $500, $600 on a game and cartridge or disc or DLC, however it is that the game comes now. Chris sent me some pictures. CBS Sci-Fi sent me some pictures. It looks like you guys are getting your spider monkeys. No, night monkeys. The night monkey has been shipped, evidently, to some of you. That means I'll get mine probably, let's see, it's January, February, April. We'll see. I'll be unboxing the night monkey in April. So here's the box. Iron Spider armor. Spider-Man. A nice little box. Now, I want to point out here, they show lights here on the bottom of his feet. I'm going to guarantee you that his feet are not lit up. So that kind of sucks that they would like show that on the box here. A couple lights on the bottom of his foot. They're not going to be lit up. No way. It's not going to happen. Howard Chan and JC Hong, obviously top people. Product designers, Hero Kwan, Jason Wu, and Japheth Law. I've heard of Hero Kwan and Jason Wu. Any glasses? Usually designers James Lee and L. Towell. Painting short Lock Ho. Accessory supervisor Oliver Lee. Costume production designer Fanny Lowe, James Lee, and L. Towell. Package designer Hayit. God, I'm sorry for butchering these names. Hayit C, Zenith ZC, and Monster Jr. Photography directors Cock and Tit and Monster Jr. Product controllers Hero Kwan, Jason Wu, and Japheth Law, and Sunny Peng. So here he is sitting in his box. I'll get him out here real quick. Of course, this is an adult collectible. This is an adult channel. If you're a child, YouTube does not want you watching our videos because they're afraid that we would tell you to buy this. I'm telling you to save your money. Don't buy any of these. Don't get sucked in. It's too fun of a hobby. I swear to God it is. I love this. Buying these figures. I love collecting them. I love having them. And I enjoy giving them my hard-earned money to own these. So I'm telling you. Secondly, I'm saying, if you're like under the age of 13 and you're able to afford a $300 hot toy on your own, or your mommy and daddy are willing to buy you $300 hot toys, God bless you. You're going to have a great life. This appears to be the same color or similar color to the Iron Spider from MCU. That's cool. They could have done the Tom Holland Iron Spider so much better. Holes in his back. Come on. That was a little bit of baloney. It's an okay figure. It's just that without the arms in the back of him. Yeah. Okay. I'm like looking at this, and there's a channel here, right? And I'm like, oh, it's supposed to go there. It's in there. You can't really display the Iron Spider from MCU without the arms in the back. It just looks weird because he's got those 4 pegs on his back. And it's like, that's the best you could do for real. These pegs still sticking out of his back. So that was kind of a mess. And I would like to, first I'd like to own 2 of those, but I only own 1. But if I had a second one, instead of posing him in the Iron Spider with the arms out, I'd have him just there, you know, presented, for instance, as Tony presented it to him at the end of what movie was that? Homecoming? No. Civil War? So this just has just the Iron Spider pieces. And yeah, you could 100% pose them without these arms. In the comic, the arms would come out of the back. They weren't like always there, if I remember correctly. So you should be able to pose them without this, should you so desire. Let's look at the instruction manual. I don't know why, what we would ever want to look at the instruction manual for. There's nothing lit up on this, so I see the bottom of the feet. They have that painted, kind of like they did with the Mark 50 accessory kit, where nothing was lit up and it was all painted like it was lit up. I'll give you a sneak peek of that right now. So they painted that on there. They've not put lights that I can remember on any of them. I think one of the Iron Man ones possibly may have lights in his feet. No, I can't think of any one that they actually have lights in their feet. Even though the character or figure would have lights in their feet, like all of the Iron Man. I can't think of a single one that actually got lights in his feet from Hot Toys. So, and you know, another thing they screwed up on was it the Iron Spider? They did this too. Should have been lights in his suit. They didn't do it. I mean, they easily could have made it a plastic figure instead of this figure. You know, they didn't. And I love my figure. I'm not giving it away. I'll tell you that much. But there's things that they could have done to make it better that they just didn't. And whenever you see them cut back in areas of such, and you're still shelling out $300 freaking dollars for it, it makes you wonder, what the hell? I mean, these things are manufactured on the dirt cheap, for real. So, I hate to tell you this, but there's not a single person working on the assembly line more than likely making $15 an hour minimum wage that assembles these figures. Couldn't make these. I got some Red Death. Red Death. That's the Red Death. What How's Red Death? Red Death is near completion, just waiting for the head sculpt, hands, and the feet to come back from being painted. Nice. Who's doing your painting? I remember looking at something that somebody was making, and they were selling just the raw head sculpts, right? And then you'd have to paint it. So I asked him, I said, who's paint? Because his was painted. I said, who's painting him? And he's like, not me. And I'm like, oh, how about sharing who it is? Because I sure ain't going to be painting it. And he wouldn't give me a name. He's like, oh, you can find somebody out there. And just throw the name out there, man. It smells like fresh paint. I mean, for real. Like they just painted it and stuck it right in the box. I don't believe they did that for 1 second. But man, the paint smell is really strong on this. So there's your Iron Spider pinchers. And how they'll attach to the back. The articulation of the shoulder, and how to be careful with that shoulder pad and the legs. The correct placement of spider webbing, and I'm going to comment on that in just a quick second, and the areas to avoid and what not to do. So here on this spider webbing, they show on this last piece here, a little blip right there, to not push it through, but to pull it through. Yeah, I've pulled one of those through and snapped the piece off. This this one here, okay, pulling it through, snapped off the very tip of it. So no matter what, on this guy, you want to be careful. It tells you not to push from the top, but to pull from the bottom. I'm going to tell you, if you're having to put too much effort sticking it through, you're going to need to open up the hand, stick something in there to open it up, toothpick or anything, a file that you might have that you can shove in there. If you can't get it in there easily enough that you're having to force it, don't pull on the bottom, even though they say that's the right way of doing it, because you will snap that little piece off. It's not supposed to look like that. It's supposed to. Look like that. And that little piece snapped clean off as I was pulling it through. So just be mindful of that as you're putting them together. If you start pulling on that bottom, it can snap clean off. And it just came apart. So I have enough of these that it's a non-issue in regards to posing him. Reselling it was going to be a problem, obviously. So I'll probably never sell these. Ever, probably. I mean, Trevor's been a long time, but I'm here to tell you there's something else. The after Hot Toys world. A world of never-ending sorrow. You'll always feel the pain, day and night, of losing your Hot Toys. So when you reach out to that Dr. in Beverly Hills, you know the one, Dr. Everything feel all right. Tell them how much you miss your Hot Toys. Tell them how much you want them back. I used to keep the instruction manuals in the boxes and then store the boxes either in the shed or the garage until I needed to find the instruction manual in order to figure out where the batteries go and something. So now all the instruction manuals. Go into the instruction manual file. Right back there. I received my Asteroids Deluxe in the mail yesterday. So we will be unboxing that next week. Also, I'll be repairing, evidently, the Centipede to get that up and running. Red Death is the Bruce Wayne Barry Allen merge. Ah. Barry Allen is the Flash, right? Obviously, I'm a fan of DC Comics, but I don't know anyone other than the main characters. I'm sorry. I was raised with Batman and Superman when I was a little guy. Okay, so no question about their place in my heart. And but when I discovered Spider-Man, then it was a whole nother avenue that took place. And for the most part, I didn't continue following the DC universe as such. All my pennies and dollars went to buying Spider-Man comics, and so I don't know all of the DC line, unfortunately. Barry Allen, I think, is the Flash, though, right? Fortnite, how's it going, man? Of course you should you subscribe? Of course you should subscribe. So all of the little here, I'll show you. I noticed this as I'm taking apart. Inside the hands there, again, it's the painted little thing. So I'm assuming then that this spider, Iron Spider, has repulsor thrusters, just like Iron Man does. So if that's the case, why the hell isn't they make this as an Iron Man? You know, how come there's not lights in them? I don't know if he is or not. Again, I'm sorry, it's my ignorance of this specific character from the PlayStation game. And the guys that made, excuse me, something's tickling my nose. The guys that made the this PlayStation game, I forget the name of the company. I'm sure you guys know exactly who it is. One of the things that they did was the advanced suit Spider-Man. That's their own creation. He didn't exist anywhere before the release of this game. They made him specifically for this game. They got to make their own Spider-Man. And so each of the characters in the video game have their own spin or interpretation to it. Because again, there's a lot of things that are pretty concrete in regards to Spider-Man, and there's a lot of things that you should stick with when recreating the character in your universe or whatever. But then you still have a little bit of a leeway where you can do this or that or change something in that regard. So I would assume that in the video game, the Andrew Garfield and the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man suits that are there are pretty accurate to the movie, I would hope. And then, of course, you like the classic suits and stuff as such. But, for instance, the Scarlet Spider doesn't necessarily look exactly the way he did in the comics. And Scarlet Spider is one of my favorite Spider-Man suits ever. Worn by, what do you call himself? Ben Reilly? If I remember correctly. Nothing better than the smell of a new hot toy. Yeah, but this one smells painty. There there is a very specific smell, just as Matt as CBS Sci-Fi is over here talking about. You open up a hot toy and it just has this. You have the new car smell. A hot toy has a smell. This smells like paint. This smells like fresh, straight up lacquer. Like I'm about to get high. That's what it smells like. And I don't know why. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't feel wet. It doesn't feel like it was sprayed and put away. It doesn't feel like it's not cured or whatever the process would be. But man, there's a definite smell there. No, none in the arms. Funny, I'm sniffing my gosh darn hot toy. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't smell it on the arms. Definitely on the suit though. Sniffing his butt. I don't know. Maybe I just never paid that much attention to it. Maybe it's always been there. Maybe for some reason it just happens to be stronger than the others today. I don't have any. I don't know. The seam there is off. So right down the dead center. Just a fitment issue. This is something that would absolutely drive me crazy if I was looking at that all the time. If I had my Spider-Man backwards, that line not being straight, that gig line would absolutely make me totally insane. I'll tell you that much. But it's the back of the character. I'll never see it. I mean, to have to look for something to complain about, that's normally a good sign, right? Like how that shoulder comes out for posing the arm, of course. So you can get it up there. It's nice how they do that. The Iron Man suits was quite a challenge through the years, watching them progress the numbers up till they got a good way of doing that shoulder. So I'm happy to see that carry over here. It was so funny, even in the comics when this came out and it had just the 3 arms, I was like, why 3, 4, 8-legged Spider-Man? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. 7. He had 7. Don't count anything else. I know what you're thinking. Get your mind out of there. Stop that. Have you seen any of these light up? The reason I'm asking is because of the little thing there in the back, which would be a switch or something. Were any of these hexagon 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hexagon stands? Were any of them lightable? And anything, DC, a Terminator, or whatever they happen to have been. Do you know of any that were light up? I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm sure there's got to be a handful of them. I'm really digging this display stand. Looks pretty cool. So we get the standard spider webs that they've been coming out with ever since the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man that Hot Toys was making. And that is this one, which he can grip in his hand and whip out, which we talked about earlier. 2 of these little guys, which are the webs coming out in their glob. You get 2 of those. 2 of these extenders, which I've never really been able to figure out necessarily a good thing to do with. I mean, I'll count. And the reason I say that is because both of these have on their end of them a kind of an offset little piece that attaches into the arm, and this one really doesn't have an offset one. It's kind of a straight line into it, and it's just a little weird that they would do that. And I suppose when you're going right to the edges of something and you need it to be like it's a continuation of a web, and you're using your whole diorama for it, and it's like maybe spread out sideways, I guess that would be good for that. So you have two of those. There's there's a Posing with Peter, I think, does a really amazing uh, display of posing as Spider-Man and using a saran wrap. Looks really cool. I hate telling you to watch some other channel, but I ain't gonna lie to you, man. If somebody's got something that's going on great, I'm gonna tell you all about it because I want you to enjoy your hobby as much as I do. We got the splat, which is good also from hanging them on the ceiling or anything you want to throw it up against, attached to the end of these. And then this one's a relatively new one. It's only been out for a few years. I call it the Todd McFarlane webbing. One of the things that Todd did when he started drawing Spider-Man was he brought the web to life. I mean, he for real brought the web like straight up to life. And there'd be just this webbing everywhere. And one of the things that you would find would be him just having rolls of it in his hand. And so I call it that. There's an actual name for this. And he's the one that I attribute to doing that first. Maybe you could say that there was some other artist that actually was doing that before Todd started doing it, and I don't know. It's just my memory from whatever it is as far as that goes. So I like the Todd McFarlane webbing. Still not a fan of this new way of making these pose stands. It's designed so that you could pose it at different heights, but it's based off of friction in regards to keeping him at a certain height. So it has this little rubber piece down here on the bottom, which is designed to, through friction and gravity, stay in place exactly where you put it. And then there's the screw in the back, which you would just tighten it down to keep it in place. But I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to get it tight enough that it will stay in its exact spot forever. I do like when they include this little extra piece here to help hold him. In contrary, the other thing that they would do instead of this would be like a back support that would go down there, and then the third way they would do it would be no support at all, but just the lobster claw. And whenever they have that, the lobster claw is actually closer to the articulated pose rod. So I'm just not a fan of this because it can come down over time. It's just the matter of physics. It's not going to stay exactly where you put it forever because of just the way that it's designed by nature. It's just not going to stay there. And on the other side of the coin, on the other ones, you only had one exact spot you could put something, and it had to be at the tip of this pole. And if you wanted to get him lower to the ground, you literally have to articulate the pole down in order to get him lower to the ground. So in the positive, you could lower him down to the ground, and as such. So that is the two sides of that coin. So okay, in hands we have two of these relaxed hands. We have two of the Spider-Man hands, and I say that because it's him pressing onto something, and his fingertips pull up on these. So the little fingertips up. You'll see that on the Spider-Man figures and like. So I call them the Spider-Man hands. There really is no other figure really that presses so hard that the fingertips are actually bent in the other direction. You get the two I love you thwips hands. So Spider-Man does this, okay, as he pushes, and in American Sign Language, that is the "I love you" sign. I love you. There are people that will say that he does this, which is not the "I love you." It's not how Spider-Man does this flip. He can't because his thumb is in the way of the web shooter. Thumb would be in the way, so he has to do it like this, and he actually articulates himself back as such when he does it. So we would call this the "I love you" flip. We have two of those. We have two fists with the holes all the way through for webbing, both right and a left hand. So the two that you would be posing that would be with the Todd McFarlane webbing and this. Or you could actually put any one of them in there you wanted to, truthfully. Or nothing at all. And then we have two fists without the webbing in them. That's interesting that they would do that. On the webbing fists, the little light inside the palm of his hand is painted. In the non-webbing fists, it's not. And it is there. You can see the little half circle inside of that. They just didn't paint it all the way. And that's interesting. Thumb position is interesting too. I'm literally trying to figure out why they would have two fists. If you have one that holds the spider web, why do you need another? Well, I guess the spider web one, his little thumb is up. Let's see if I can show you that. And in the other one, his thumb is down, which is all about fight placement, right? You don't punch somebody with your thumb up like that. So if he's going to be in a fight, you're going to tuck your thumb. So I assume that's why they're going to be two fists. That makes sense, right? Wrist pegs, red, cool. That's everything that's in the box. Don't tell me I'm going to run out of time today. I'm waiting on figures, man. I've got like 24 figures that all of you have received that I haven't yet. Oh, Mark 21 Midas. Oh, my night monkey. Night monkey. Hey Siri, Luke, how's the Iron Spider-Man suit? Is it similar to the Scarlet Spider suit or the 2099? Well, let's get this up here and have a look. Where's my Scarlet Spider? I've run out of room. I swear, I've run out of room for my characters, my toys. So I guess I'm going to have to add another room onto the house, right? Oh, come on. Let's get these guys up here and compare them. I didn't bring them up here because I didn't think to compare them to the other spider suits. So, Good question. And since we have them, let's compare them. God, these arms. I think I just saw something. I'll run by you guys. Tell me what you think. Okay, this suit is like, in comparison to the Iron Spider from Spider-Man, in regards to some of this material. So he's multi-materialed. For instance, this is that smooth, shiny vinyl here. This is the textured material, kind of like 2099. But not. It's a different material as well. These two are probably the same family of material, whatever this is, but it's different. Definitely not the same material. A little different. Okay, I'm gonna check them all now. This is the advanced suit, Spidey. It even feels different than the advanced suit, Spidey. It's smoother, but not. It's still textured. It's not as smooth as the Iron Spider from MCU. Each of these, I hate to sound stupid in saying this, but each of these suits are different. And that's the most insane thing I could say right now. Because obviously each of these suits are different. But I mean each of these suits are different. The material in that's made here, the design cut into them, the texture of the suit, each of these suits, the texture, the absolute minute texture of them is different. The texture on this suit is not like any of these others, and vice versa, and this as well. They each have their own texture in the suit. It's that attention to detail that has impressed us with Hot Toys for so many years. So whenever they do something stupid and slap some shit together, it makes you wonder who was working that day, who signed off on that. I mean, if they're going to take the time to make this suit and that suit and this suit and that suit totally different in the absolute material that's wrapped around this, when they could just slap some $10 toy on there in regards to that, it tells you something that obviously somebody there is paying attention to the minutia of it, the finer details. And then when they make these obvious, absolute stupid ass mistakes and poor product and quality and whatever else, you're like, okay, so you're doing your job and you aren't. Why the hell are you even working? So it's its own suit. And it's interesting, and only because I sat here and compared each of these do I notice this minute detail to that in that regards. It's quite interesting, and I didn't expect that. It just wasn't anything that was in my mind. It wasn't anything that I thought I needed to examine beyond just saying it's a different suit. I didn't necessarily go down to actually look at the little bitty textures in each one of them. Every one of them have a different texture to them. And it would have been easy to just go brah, and just have one giant sheet and just paint it or whatever, however it works. I don't know exactly how that goes about, but they have their own little texture. And I mean, it's textured. If you can see the on his tummy there, it's actually a raised little textured suit. It's quite that's Hot Toys quality, okay? For them to do that, to take the time to make that the case is what we crave. It's why we buy the 1/6 scale figures, because of the quality or the ability to give us the fine detail that you can't necessarily get in 1/12 or even 1/9. Um, it's large enough that you can get down to the little bitty millimeter decoration, but small enough that it doesn't necessarily take up your entire house. It takes up a good portion of it. But yeah, that's quite interesting. I hadn't even thought to really go over that until just now, and it's interesting, quite. Um, Snap this whip. I want to look at the skull versus the web, the spider on this. And they're done differently. So no, it's not like any other figure. It really isn't. It's its own figure. No doubt about it. See those bottom feet again. Now that we are, he's out of the box. And like I said, it's the same thing they did with the Mark 50 accessories to make them appear to be lit up. And on any of these, and I hate to say this, these unitard suits, I can't imagine for real posing him beyond just something akin to nothing. Here he is. I've seen literally these suits just dissolve. Not these, okay? But a Black Widow, I've seen dissolve. A Tony Stark racing suit just dissolve for no apparent reason. And there are people who will guide you to chemicals to put on these to preserve them, and I don't have any advice on that. So I really would need to probably preserve mine as well in that regards. So and the racing suit wasn't posed in any particular manner. He's just standing there, just arms down, standing there, and all the little black is just flaked clean off of it. It's crazy. So I'm really, really nervous about these in that regards. I don't want to put any crease or anything in here to do that. So even on my 2099, if you notice, I have his arm just as straight as possible to try to keep this from creasing up because I don't want to cause any crease in there. And I'm seeing a crease in there. That ain't gonna work. There we go. Got a little crease in his elbow. So I'll just straighten that out. So, pose your figures, play with them. You bought them to play with. You bought them to be able to pose them in any pose you wanted. If you didn't want to pose them, you'd buy a statue. We're buying action figures because we want to be able to put them in our own configuration of how they should be displayed, right? If this is the only way you can buy it, why are you buying a figure? You should buy a statue. So enjoy your figure, pose your figure, play with your figure. It's the whole purpose of buying it. But just keep in mind that you need to be careful with them. They could dissolve apart. And that's the truth of it. For real. So be mindful of your playing with your toys. But enjoy your toys. I don't know how best to say that. I I truthfully couldn't imagine spending this kind of money on these and sticking them in a box and never taking them out and playing with them. I don't think the enjoyment of increase in value that you potentially may make is going to outweigh the enjoyment of being able to enjoy your figures. You know what I mean? I just don't see it. Sure, some of them have doubled or tripled in price, and that's a different story. But keep in mind, those are the rare instances. It's not, I guarantee you, every single one of these are not going to triple in price. It's not going to happen. Not in our lifetime. They might. Who knows? If you knew your 1977 Star Wars figures were going to go as expensive as they did at one point, would you have taken them out of the package? Would you have? Would you have? Really? Would you have? Would you have? Would you have? I bet you would have. Even if your dad's like, don't you dare touch that figure. That's your college education. You're taking it out of the package. You're taking it off of the shelf, and you're going to unpackage that bad boy, and you are going to play with it. Just like the baseball that he had sitting on the mantle, right? That he got from the World Series. You played with it. You took it out there. You hit it with the baseball bat. You know you did. You put that scuff mark on it, hoping your dad never saw it. Okay, kids, you can't play with your little toys. Keep them packaged up and in the shelf. One day when you're 70, you'll thank us. Not. So these little plastic pieces on here, they're glued on or whatever. They wiggle. So be mindful of that. You can pop them off, and you're not going to be too happy. We have here a Iron Man style knee, which is quite interesting. None of these others have that. That is literally like something you would see in an Iron Man figure. Double jointed knee here. There's one joint. There's two joints. I mean, it literally is an Iron Man knee. For fact. Really interesting. The elbow, however, is this. And just moving it just a little bit, huge crease in the material. Huge. So pose your figure, play with your figure, have fun with your figure. It's why it's an action figure, to put it into action poses. Just be mindful. You're probably going to want to swap them out every now and again and get it out of that pose and straighten it up like I just did with that elbow. I dig this face, this helmet. It also looks very Iron Man-y, if you will. It doesn't look necessarily like a Spider-Man helmet. Okay, so in comparison, this is a classic Spider-Man shape helmet. Okay, the way the chin comes down and the jawline is, and this is very not. It likens to the Iron Man, which is neat. It works because it's the Iron Spider. So I just see a huge influence of the Iron Man suit here, compared to that shape helmet. And it's not bad. It works. You know, it's the Iron Man style, Iron Man, Iron Spider suit. And that works. So it's interesting. I didn't expect to see that. No interchangeable eyes, obviously, which is a rarity for these PlayStation Spider-Man to have interchangeable eyes. Pretty much what you get is what you get. But that's a definite Iron Man style helmet for fact. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's who he's supposed to be. He's an Iron Spider. So it's interesting. And again, I don't have any knowledge of it from the video game. I'm going to assume that that's exactly how it looks in the video game as well. I like it. I like it a lot. I don't know what's going on here with this ankle. Okay, so there is ankle pivot to some degree, but only through maneuvering it are you going to be able to position it to a real ankle pivot. Oh, there it goes. Oh, that's not true. It's pivoting. No, it's not. So it requires a maneuvering in order to be able to pivot it just specifically. But you should be able to put this into whatever poses would require you to have the ankle in an articulated position to give it more of a swoop or whatever. It's there. Just requires a little more attention to detail in order to get it exactly how you want. We've seen him standing on his own easily. Interesting. Well, I guess the good thing that this can come out as such is a couple of things that could be good about this. If all else fails in your articulated pose, if you're taking, for instance, photographs of your figure, and you can't get this into an exact position, you can remove it and then reposition it without it having to be under the confines of the foot peg. So that's good, right? Are his arms too long? I believe his arms are too long. So the hands are placed properly for the height of the figure in regards to such, but with the shoulders being as they are, the arms are too long. Now, I might be getting this opinion because of the shoulder pads up here. That just makes the arms appear to be more of an arm there. But they're at the same height as Spidey is here, but his shoulders are higher, and it might be just because of this pad. And then, of course, when we remove the pad, the shoulder's in a proper place. So the pad is making his arms appear longer. And that's interesting. That's really interesting, actually. Yeah, that's really interesting. It makes him appear to be disproportionate, but he's not. It's just because of the padding. So along that same line, is the neck too short or too long? And so they did proportionately elongate the neck in that regards because of the shoulder. Good neck comparison here. So from shoulder to head, you can see that that's a proper neck length. But if that shoulder isn't really where the shoulder is because of the pads, well, then the neck's too long. He's taller than the other Spideys. And that's because they stretched out the neck in order to make it appear proper because of the shoulders. Hmm. It's about the same height and the same shoulders. So this is interesting. So Advanced Suit Spidey has longer legs. So the butt's a little higher on Advanced Suit Spidey than it is on this one, which ends up giving them the same shoulder and same height, but the legs are a little longer. So how proportioned does he appear? He appears properly proportioned. Um, it's interesting, the subtleties to such. Whereas even though it's supposedly the same character in the creation of this, he ends up just being proportioned differently in each category to try to make him appear to be appealing as you're glancing at him. Interesting. Really interesting. This one, just looking at it, is the most pleasing to the eyes. Everything appears to be properly proportioned. Our brains have a way that we want to look at something. We want to recognize it in a certain way, and you can see if something doesn't appear to be properly proportioned or proportioned the way that our brain wants to recognize something. And this one's properly proportioned. Interesting. Really interesting. Are any of you guys in the Hot Toys Collectors group? Are any of you guys in the Hot Toys Collectors group? Which one? On Facebook? If so, have a look at Adam Pagel's pics. The pics he's putting out of Hot Toys is a must-see. I think I sent you some pics of them. I think you did. Thank you, CBS Sci-Fi. So that just snaps off pretty easily. It wouldn't take any effort whatsoever to get this off in order to be able to put on the one for the spider arms. Pretty easy to figure out where it goes. There's three holes. Almost impossible to screw this up. I say almost impossible because, given enough time, even a square peg can be pounded into a round hole. I'm going to assume that each of these are exactly the same because, assumptions are always safe to make. They'll never turn around and bite you in the ass. You can assume anything you want, right? Right. Um, so I don't have anything to compare it to. I've made that statement several times in regards to this figure, except for this. And I like these little pinchers that are on this. Okay, you can open and close these claws. I'm trying to remember the comic, if they opened and closed. I don't remember. I'm sorry. If you guys do, let me know. Or if they open and close in the video game, because these do not, that I see, open and close. Should they open and close like a lobster? How does the Parker head fit in the Iron Spider? Let's find out. So that's made by Lim Toys. This head sculpt does, and it's supposed to represent the head from the video game. And I like it. It's funny looking at it. It appears to be an Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire cross, and I don't know if that was what they were going for when they did it. It appears it'll function well. The necks appear to be the same. So if you haven't picked up one of these heads, you should. There's a little gap there in the back, okay? But on it, it looks like it belongs, right? It doesn't look out of place or not on the right body. It appears as it should. But like I said, there is a little bit of gap there. Maybe you can pull the neck joint out and swap it with a shorter one if need be. I don't know how much you'd want to get involved in that, but it doesn't look like it's out of scale or proportion in that regards. Not bad. Not bad at all. And the reason I put this on the Advanced Suit Spider-Man is because it's their creation. This suit they made, the company that made the PlayStation, they designed this suit. It didn't belong. It didn't exist in any comic until they created the video game. It's their own suit, so why not put their own head on there too? That was my opinion about that. So that's why that's where the head goes. But you can put it on anyone you want. Yeah, I'm really digging this helmet on him. And it's a helmet, not a mask, right? It's unique. It's very unique. It is 1-to-1 to the gamer edition, but the legs are new and more comic book like. You talking about these? A lot of articulation here on this these little spider tendrils. Not sure what you would call them, truthfully. So one thing I enjoy posing my iron spiders in this pose. Um, I'm not so sure I want to do that with this guy, to tell you the truth. You can really stick these in there far. So as you're putting them in, it'll feel like you have it in there far enough. It still goes in further. It'll really go in there quite a ways into that. So you can see that's, I don't know, what's that, maybe a centimeter from the end of the back of his suit to the first joint, maybe, maybe 8 millimeters. Look at that. You can really get these around. There's a lot of movability here. Movability. Hmm. Who all taught me how to speak? That's what I'm curious about. Yeah, this could be fun in choosing a pose. I like the knees, the Iron Man style knees for strength. Um, he's a lot of figure. Let's see if he'll fit in the dead top just as this. So not on the stand, but this is his height. I would be able to fit him in the dead top from this tip to these feet. So you can still get him pretty well out there. Put him in here and just have him stand on this without any support there. Just pull this down one little step. It's not going to make a difference. He'll fit very nicely into the Detolf and be quite a presence in regards to that ominous or however you want to envision him as. It's quite unique, quite unique. Um, Two totally different figures here. All right, I think this guy cost me more than this one did, if I remember correctly. Uh, if you're a real spider nut, then you need this one too, for fact, because of its the differences in the arms for one thing. You know what? I'm curious. I want to see if those arms will go on here. No, no, no way. We'll try it, but I'm telling you right now, no. I'd be surprised. I'd be really surprised if I'm able to get this in here. No, I can't get it to snap in place. Similarly lengthed. The Hot Toys ones are a little bit longer. Differently articulated. So for comparison purposes. The Hot Toys one's a little bit longer. Not interchangeable. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could probably put this in here, vice versa. Throw this on here if you really wanted to go this route. For whatever insane reason that you may want to hybrid these two. I do like this arm a little more than this one. This reminds me a lot of the MCU arm. And again, I can't help but have to repeat this. I don't know exactly how it is in the game. Maybe this is the exact arm as it is in the game. Maybe this is a little closer to what it is in the comic. I don't remember the comic that well. This is the back support that I mentioned as another way of them doing it. So this is nice. It's not wrapped up around these pieces here. Not putting any undue stress on that. So it's a good idea to have this, looking at it now, using this crotch rester to keep these from pinching on this portion of the suit. So that makes sense. You know, I really want to put him in the exact same pose as I have my other Iron Spiders. It seems to be like the Iron Spider pose. You know what I mean? Or actually even the Spider-Man pose, to tell you the truth, of this configuration of him in this type of a manner. So many times we've seen Spider-Man in this type of a pose. I don't know, though. I really think I'm not going to use this at all. And we'll probably go with the crotch grabber and have him stand, you know, just as such. I don't know at this point. Does that tell a good story of him just standing? Is the question. I'm thinking to balance him out, if we're going to put it in this type of a pose. I don't know. I'm thinking something like this. Sorry, Spidey, we're going to borrow your crotch grabber here. I mean, it still gives him presence. No question about what's going on there. I think this is where I'm going. I think this is where I'm going. Sable Mason! How's it going, man? I broke down and got Gamora for my villain collection. Hello, which one? I had the Stealth Suit Spider-Man Deluxe on pre-order. Found it for $100 cheaper from a Hong Kong seller, so I changed my pre-order to Gamora. Hey, anytime you can save $100 on a Hot Toys figure, go ahead. Holy cow, is it brand new for that $100 less? Stealth Suit Spider-Man, really selling for $100 less? They've got 2 of those on pre-order. The Night Monkey, right? What else have we got going on? I guess that's it. Let me get this crotch grabber out because I'm for fact posing him in that manner. No doubt about it. All these bags of stands. So where does this one go? Goes in this one. Geez, if I ever liquidated all these and had to try to figure out which one goes into which. Yeah. That's all I had to say about that. Yeah. Brand new. Sheesh. Come on, man. You're scaring me. You're scaring me. That's scary. Sable Mason is a villains collector, and Gamora is another one of those characters that skirted on both sides of it, right? Or was she truly ever really a villain? Maybe she was just controlled by Thanos. Could that be? No. No. That can't be the case. I still need a Drax. How do I not have a Drax is my question. The base on that is so cool. On this one. Oh, I know which base you're talking about. You're talking about the base on the Night Monkey. Yeah, it is. Now, if I remember correctly, you had either the standard base or the deluxe, right? The right the deluxe one doesn't come with the flame and all that of the fire elemental. Is that right? Yeah, I agree. That is cool. But I don't remember whether or not that came on both figures. I'm pretty sure they have a deluxe and a regular, right? Or exclusive or whatever they want to call it, and a regular for the Night Monkey. When you're posing your figures in your Detolf, you only have so many figures you can put on a shelf, and on those bases like that, I don't know if it really limits you down to less that can be put onto a shelf, but it sure is a good looking base. I agree, 100%. It's a damn good looking base. So this is how I keep these together in this bag of all of these. Otherwise, you'll be fighting them for days to try to take them out. You, you bought it only for the base? You didn't care about the Night Monkey? I mean, he doesn't look like Spider-Man. You know what I mean? He does, obviously, because we know he is. But he's not like Spider-Man. Not like this is. Come on, any one of these, you can look at it and say, "Oh, that's Spider-Man." Even if you're not a Spider-Man person, there's not going to be any question about. You're not going to look at this and say, "Oh, what is this? Some water guy or something? He does something in the water. He looks like a water guy to me. Is he a water guy?" No, dude, he's a freaking spider. You don't see the spider? Spider-Man. Yeah, there's no question about who he is, right? But the Night Monkey, there could be some question about that. So what is this? This is a covert operating superhero something or other? Is that what this is? Is that what it is? Covert superhero? Like a covert superhero? Is that what that is? I'm assuming people that come into your house and where your collection may be, wherever your collection may be, and not know what it is they're looking at, and they're trying to guess. So what is this one? What is this? What is this one? Or here you are, you've got your grandsons coming over to see your collection, little guys. Tell me, Grandpa, what is this one? What is this one, Grandpa? What's this one? One of the craziest things I ever said, I remember, to my grandparents. So, like, when I was growing up, my grandparents were Depression era survivors. They were born in that time frame when they were young people during the Depression. So they really had to learn how to survive off of nothing. So all the photographs in their house that were on the walls and on the bookshelves and stuff, they're all in black and white. There wasn't a single photograph in the house that was color as I was growing up from their, their years, their lives. And so here I am. I'm a little guy. I don't know how old I was, 5 or something. I have no idea. Little, young. And I swear to God, I remember asking my grandma. I said to her, "Hey, Grandma, what year did they invent color?" And, she thought I was asking, in what year did color photography come out? Because I'm pointing to the pictures. And she's like, "Oh, I don't know. They've had color photography for a long time or something." I don't remember what her answer was exactly. But I remember having to clarify. And I'm like, "No, Grandma, not like when did they make color? I mean, when did they invent color? When did the world go from living in a black and white world where the trees are black and white, the grass is black and white, and the people are black and white, to one day everybody getting colored? When did they invent color?" Swear to God. No, I'm not an idiot. But it's funny how our little brains are as we're growing up. We had to process stuff, and that was the extent of how that was. I literally remember asking that question. When did they invent color? I think everybody's got some story that they've either said or heard, or a misspelling or a misspeaking of something as they didn't quite understand as you're growing up, the actual words or the meanings or something, or how things really worked. But that was my big one. I think another one I did is I think I asked my mother. One day I said to her, I said, "Mom, did you know Abraham Lincoln?" Kids are great, man. Kids are great. When did they invent color? Did you know Abraham Lincoln? Next week, we're going to unbox this asteroid. I've got nothing else coming at this very moment. Although I have probably $10 or so thousand of figures on pre-order. And you guys are getting all yours. I'm not getting all mine. Last person on the planet to receive their figures. You're looking at them. Oh, I've not watched WandaVision yet. Okay, so here's my question. Do I need to film myself watching WandaVision? Because I'll tell you right now, on the last episode of Mandalorian, there have been a lot of you that have filmed reaction videos to that as you were watching it. And if I knew that was going to be such a reaction thing to do that, hell yeah, I would have, because, dude, I'm telling you, I was freaking crying on that last episode of Mandalorian. I was like, no way. No way. No way. No, 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 no. You got to be kidding me. Oh, it was such an emotional thing. So, should I be filming myself watching WandaVision? Is it going to be one of those you're like shocked to your core? Shocking the monkey? I've been waiting for it. I guess it came out. I guess it's been on now 2 weeks. Are they on their second episode now already of WandaVision? I'm really digging the whole concept of that. I guess it takes place after Infinity War, before Endgame, during that time frame. Wanda Maximoff, one of the most powerful super beings in the Marvel Cinematic Universe specifically. She's a badass. I think she's more powerful than Doctor Strange. More powerful than Thanos. More powerful than Captain Marvel. Scarlet Witch, she's a badass. Total. 100% in my opinion. Most powerful being. One of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Ego's pretty powerful. But I think she's more powerful than normal. More powerful than Thor. More powerful than Thanos. More powerful than Doctor Strange. I think she's a complete badass. So I'm quite interested to see how this WandaVision is going about. Figure grows on you. Spider Monkey grows on you. Cool. Still, Spider-Man is not selling well and is unpopular in Hong Kong. So there's a major price drop. Oh my goodness. Martin Rygard Lassen, thank you very much for joining us. Yeah, I'm about to wrap this up. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about, anything you want me to go over, any of these figures that I have from previous collections. Somebody was asking about the Fison S16A the other day. And I clarified the reason that I did not go over that as I went on my list of Fison figures that we've been going through is because it is not readily available to be purchased brand new at this point. It's a discontinued figure. But I do have it on here on the list of Fison figures, so I was able to share with them my notations that I have in regards to it, to the size that it was. So even though we didn't talk about one of those Fisons, if I have it on here, it was made at one point by them. There's a red and black and green, and of course the red ones are the ones that are no longer available to purchase brand new. But you'll find them obviously on third-party sites like eBay or whatever, where people who own one would be selling it. Also, what I don't have on here are the Fisons that would be like Lady Sparta or a Vampirella or something along that line, where they're going to use a figure which is similar to one of these, but not necessarily one of these. So it truthfully would be another one that's outside of this scope and probably should be cataloged in that manner, because it really doesn't fall always. It's not one they just take off the shelf and just throw an outfit on. A lot of times it's a custom created figure just for that character that they're making. So you're still not confined to those in that regards to your own creation. If you're wanting to make a character, you can possibly use one of these others and put it into this, because they're not always just an off-the-shelf character that they put on there. For instance, I believe the Vampirellas don't have nipples on a couple of them. So, which kind of goes opposite of every Fison figure that they make. Interesting, right? The 4th episode. Holy cow, I'm way behind. Do we know how many episodes is going to be a season? For instance, Mandalorian is 8 episodes as a season. Do we know how many episodes will make a season of WandaVision? Is it 8, 13, 16, 32? She's hotter, that's for sure. Wanda is hot, yeah. Elizabeth Olsen. Sister to the famous Olsen twins from, what was the name of that? Family Ties? Also, my whip. Oh, the whip. Oh, my back. I just latched to my back. Give me a minute. Oh. Hello. My back just said good morning to me. I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget it was there. I'm going to have the Whiplash Mark 1 and 2 mirroring each other. That's cool. So this is the re-release Whiplash, right? The Mark 1, re-release Mark 1 Whiplash, right? And I'm trying to remember, does it have the exact same MMS number as it did originally? Is it whatever 150 or whatever it was? Is it that same? Is it a full-on reissue, or is it different? I think the figure base is different, isn't it? On the Whiplash Mark 1 new issue, I think the figure base is different. I also got my Cyclops premium format figure. Oh, now what is premium format? That's not 1/3 scale, or 1/4 scale. It's 1/3 scale, right? Premium, no. Premium format is a 1/4 scale, right? I bet that looks nice. Nice. You want it from Sideshow? Thank you. I'm finally glad to meet someone that wins one of those damn contests. put my name in the hat every single month on all their little contests. Never win shit. It's nice to know someone wins out there. Good job, Sable Mason. The most you ever unbox in a day. Yeah. Full House. Full House. That's the show that Elizabeth Olsen's sisters, Ashley and Mary Kate. No, Kate. Ashley and Kate. So it is. Ashley and Kate Olsen were the twins, and Elizabeth is younger than them, but looks very much like them. No doubt about her being an Olsen. I'm not sure who's making more money at this point, the twins or her. I imagine probably her. It's full-on reissue with a different MMS number because it has a different base. Bingo. Thank you. Cyclops premium format figure is a quarter scale. Okay, thank you. Thank you. And I couldn't remember. What do they call 1/3 scale? I don't remember. Legendary scale? Or is that half scale? I don't remember. But that's more or less the scales that you can actually buy some of these figures in. You can get a half scale. I've seen half scale Iron Man figures, look really cool. Full scale, of course. 1/3 scale, 1/4 scale, 1/6 scale, 1/7 scale, 1/9 scale, 1/12 scale, and then, we're not counting anything beyond that, but that's the full-on range that you can collect these. So, for instance, if you love the Mark 7 Iron Man armor, dude, you can get that in a 12th, a 9th, a 6th. I'm sure there's a 7th someplace. 1/12 scale, 1/9 scale, 1/6 scale, a 1/4 scale, 1/3 scale, and a 1/2 scale, and a 1-to-1 scale. So if you full on just love that specific suit, it's available in all those. I think the Heartbreaker is available in most of those as well. Don't know if it's available in the 1/12, but it's available in all the others. So you can really get some unbelievable detail and quality in these as you go larger, if you have the room to put them. I've always thought it'd be neat to have a 6-foot Ant-Man to represent Giant Man in 1/6 scale, specifically from Civil War. Is this light flickering over here, or is it just where it happens to be in that one section of my eye that flashes out? They say you take a dot and put it on your paper, and take the dot, put it on the paper, and stare at the one dot, and then move the paper to it, and this dot will disappear because it's going to hit that little blind area that we have. This light appears it's either flashing or it's hitting that area, and it's making me crazy. It's like looking over there, like, what the hell's going on over there? I can't wait for Sideshow's Ghost Face and the Gambit coming out. Ghost Face. Speaking of Ghost Face, I sure would like for them to do that with the Spider-Man. That flaming blue skull, whatever that is. I mean, that looks cool. That would be great. I really hope they continue making these PlayStation Spider-Man suits. However many there are, 40 of them or something. I don't even know. I really would enjoy that. I want them all. Spider-Man was my guy way before Iron Man or anything else ever even existed. So I'm really enjoying collecting the Spider-Man suits. It's quite fun, for real. Why are you leaning like this? Can we not get you to stand up straight? When you stand up straight, your suit crunches. We don't want a crunchy suit. Okay, so that's straight. We have a lot of material here in the front of the suit of him standing straight like that. That's bent forward. There's got to be a way of getting this good. I don't like how he's looking. Let's have a look at this. Something is wrong. Okay, so what I'm doing is straightening him and then pulling him apart. I don't feel a chest that you separate in doing that. Um, but I'm trying to keep this suit from bunching. He was kind of weirdly standing as I was looking at him sideways, and that's going to bother me because I want him to stand up straight, not all hunched back, which is what he was. He was kind of bent he was bent backwards. You can see this, okay? So here's his feet, okay, and all of a sudden he's hunched backwards. So that's not going to work. I'm not gonna like that. He has to stand up straight, and when I stand him up straight, he ends up getting this crease, this fold of excess material in here. That's definitely standing up straight. That looks better. I don't know how many of you will be standing him straight. Truthfully, I mean he's an articulated character. Spider-Man is somebody is always in these unusual feet up by his ear type poses. You expect him to just be totally whacked out as he's being flinging through the air, kind of like I really don't have a really good example of it, but this how I pose my negative suit Spidey here. He's just kind of everywhere as he's swinging through the air. It's not very graceful. I don't know how many style points he would get doing this in an Olympic competition in regards to things. He's just gangly, flinging around, going about it. And you want to be able to do that with your Spider-Man, you know? And I don't know if I'll be doing that with him. God, look at the creases I have in this guy. Nah, I can't keep posing him like that. Holy cow. Oh, no. I'm going to cry. So however old he is, him sitting in that pose, I'm going to show you. I've been warning you guys. I'm going to show you this. Gosh dang it. You see there on that black? There where those creases are? See that color's up? He'd been sitting in that pose since brand new. In this very first row that comes down, the second and third black squares. So the very first row closest to his inner thigh. Okay, second and third squares where he was bent. Can you see that? Gosh dang it! Same thing on this side from him being in that articulated pose. Gosh dang it. So, no, guys, don't keep your Spideys bent like that in these suits. God dang it. And the little black is separating. You can see the wrinkles in it separating from the suit. Gosh dang it. All right. And here's the back of the suit. There where the butt crease is. You see it's tore into that white. Son of a bitch. What I'm talking about is there's this seam, if you will. Got my finger on the seam. You can see where the seam is broken right there. And this is months old. Months old. I tell you guys all the time, and then, of course, what do? The exact same thing that I tell you not to do. Gosh dang it. So right now to your collection, get your Spider-Man out of those poses. Get him standing straight. Oh, my back. Oh. Mm. What a revelation. So if there's any question about whether or not these will get damaged by posing them as such, I hope this is a lesson to you, as it certainly is to me. Gosh dang it. It's like a cancer when this happens. It just grows, okay? So, or like rust. Jeez. My poor Spider-Man. Gosh, dang it. And I get this Molten Man. After I get this, Molten Man is going to be very dry for me as a villain collector. Oh, really? There's no more villains coming out, huh? Yeah, that sucks. It's not split. These next months, I will be hunting for Hela. Oh, yeah, I loved my Hela. And Ironmonger for a good price. Ironmonger, oh, I don't know if you're going to find him for a good price. Museum poster Spider-Man pal, 100%. Get them in a Hall of Armor, for fact. Lego, I haven't seen you in a long time, man. Welcome. Good seeing you. Good seeing you. Yeah, don't pose your spiders anything other than, the bare minimum. Like, this is even, pushing it. Gosh, dang it. Let's get another crotch grabber here for Spidey. I am well. I just found out that I've destroyed my negative suit Spider-Man. Lesson for today, kids. Don't pose your Spider-Man in anything other than the museum pose if you want to keep their suits from disintegrating. What have I done here? Yeah, I just found some areas on this Negative Suit Spider-Man where he's damaged from being in an articulated action pose from like practically day one of getting him in my collection. So be mindful of that. Don't pose your figures into an action pose for a long period of time, especially these Spider-Man. If you're gonna pose them in that, pose them, and then right back to this museum pose is the term that we use for this, just standing there. You'll be sorry. And I've been preaching that from like the beginning. Of course, do we follow our own advice? Hell no. Why would we follow why would we practice what we preach? Huh? What fun is there in that? Then we got nothing to get angry over when we destroy our stuff. One of you chemical engineers, let me know what product to put on these suits to keep them from dissolving. Please. Sugar on top. You're welcome. He does take a lot of space, but I kind of want him to. I want him to make a presence. You can pose him without the arms if you feel so inclined. Literally, you don't have to put the arms on there if you just want him to be as he is, and he's still a good-looking figure as such. He's a better-looking figure with his arms. But you kind of want him to command that space, to be such a presence as such. You want him to be intimidating or in your face, if you will. But I guess I'm about done now. Had you guys for 2 hours. I love you guys. Don't like keeping you for longer. This light, man, is it flickering or is it in my eye? I'm losing my mind. Next week, we will be unboxing the Replicate Asteroids, which I just got in the mail yesterday. And so far, nothing else has arrived. Although I'm supposed to be having a lot of stuff arrive. And you guys are getting all this stuff. And I ain't getting shit. I ain't getting shit. The cheapest Hella that's on eBay is $560. What did I sell my Hella for? I think I sold her for a pretty good price. And I had to, if you remember, in 2019 when I had to pay some medical bills, I surely didn't want to get rid of her. Somebody I seen has taken a Hella and has her with the rooted hair. Looks really good. I'm wondering where that head sculpt came from, because that's what we really needed from Hot Toys. All we got was the helmeted head. I wish I knew who made that rooted hair Hella. What's her name? Kate Blanchett? That's who played her, right? Looks really nice. I've seen that. $560. It's worth it, man. It's a great figure. If you didn't get it, or if you don't have it anymore, as in my case, I'd pay $560 for her. I would, if I had $560 to pay for her. So, you're not going to be, you're definitely not going to be dissatisfied if you want her. Um, Again, don't buy her if you don't want her. If you have no emotional attachment to Hella, then don't spend $560 on her, or whatever it happens to be. Um, you're not going to be happy. You could have bought two Hot Toys figures for that. But if you really want her, she belongs in my collection. I'd pay 560 for her in a heartbeat. Next villains that should be coming out is in-game Loki. Oh yeah. Mysterio. 100% sure they will be delayed. Supposed to be out in April. Yeah, I'm with you. There's a bunch that I'm telling you, man. My list is this long of my spreadsheets of probably 10 or 15 figures that were supposed to be released by now that haven't. Now you guys have gotten some of those already. I've seen them, and there's still some that aren't out coming out yet. Um, Do not buy Hot Toys off. Oh, you do not buy Hot Toys off eBay. I have bought Hot Toys off eBay. What I found is you really need to examine the photographs completely and totally. If they're taking a picture of something, like if you see them like zooming in on a shoulder, by golly, there's a reason why they're doing that. And you really need to look at every millimeter on those photographs, because when you open it up, you'll notice that something or whatever is awry, and then you'll go right back to the photograph, and it'll be right there in that photograph too. So make sure that you examine the photographs of the figures when buying off of eBay. If, for instance, though, the seller has 100% scammed you, okay, if they've provided you a figure that is damaged or is not as described, and you can prove that to eBay in a phone conversation, you can tell them, look at the photographs. This does not show a scratch, or it states that it's X or whatever. And what I received has, eBay will work with you to make sure that you are treated fairly and properly in regards to, even as a matter of fact, of giving you back your money that you paid for that. So there is a level of security in regards to that. But by all means, I encourage you, look at every single photograph, every millimeter on that photograph, because I've bought a handful of figures off of eBay, and two times I remember specifically that actually three times have been an issue. Two times specifically, I'll get the figure, I pull it out, and all of a sudden I'm like, hey, so and so, blah blah blah, whatever else, yada yada, is broken or scratched or missing or dented or damaged or isn't there or whatever. Go right to the photographs, and it's the exact same way in the photograph. I just missed it as I was going over it. So um, do that. You've got nothing to complain about at that point if it's revealed to you in the photograph. You missed it. So can you please pose your Iron Midas, Iron Man Mark 21 Midas next to the Iron Spider to see how it looks? Iron Midas. You mean like the Mark 21 Midas? This is the chrome one. One of my absolute all-time favorite Hot Toys figures. He was only available at, if I remember correctly, the Disney Shanghai Hot Toys. I had to buy it from a one of you guys out there, and I paid a pretty penny for him, and I do not regret that at all. So this is the Chrome Mark 21 Midas. So the original one is not as shiny, and the new one is even different as well. So you're going to have three types of, potentially, three types of the Mark 21 Midas figures with this new Chrome diecast Mark 21. It's coming out. He's not called Chrome, but I think there were some pieces on him that are chromed, so I'll be excited to get that. But yeah, this is one of my all-time favorite Hot Toys figures right here, for fact, for absolute fact. Love this guy. I've seen her for way less. Facebook buy, sell trade groups. If you can get it for less, if you can get a Hella figure, snatch it up, especially if you can get a good price. Where did I see rooted hair Hella head sculpt I want? That's exactly what I thought too. It was on Facebook somewhere. It's out there. And I was like, who in the hell did that? And I'm wondering if it's possible that they took a helmeted head and just totally went to work on it. You know, I don't know. When I seen that, I was like, holy shit! This person's got a rooted hair Hella. Oh my god! And it looks, I mean, it's exactly how, you know, she's crushing Mjolnir. It's that. Powerful, powerful, man, powerful. I got a brand new Hella, and she's never going to leave me. Good job, Toy Mafia. She's a great figure, man. She really is. Rooted hair Hella is a custom piece. Probably costs a couple of $100 just to get to root the hair. Yeah, I believe that 100% save on. I totally do. And it's definitely one that would be worth the investment as well. More so if you were able to get the Hella at regular Hot Toys prices and bought her new, then you can put that investment into the head. If you're spending $600, $700, $800 on a Hella and then having to put another couple $100 into a head sculpt, that's a little difficult to swallow. That's a tough pill to swallow. You know what I mean? I saw rooted hair Whiplash. Nice. With the man bun. Oh, wow. Because that's really what he has. You know, when he takes his helmet off. Wow. Nice. And, you know, I wish that these people were a little easier to find, these customizers that are willing to do that. Because I know there's a lot of us out there, me included, that would gladly spend a couple $100 on something like that if it really is what we're wanting. And that is obviously a ability or trait. If you are able to do it, oh man. Are you going to get the die cast? Well, hell yeah, it's on order. 100%. Not only is it order, it's already paid for. I paid full price on that bad boy. I'm like, I'm not missing that one. 400, whatever it was, dollars. Instantly, instead of just paying the minimum and then making payments, whatever. I said, that one's coming home as soon as it's shipped. I'm not waiting on nothing on that. You better just send it to me. I don't want to hear anything about you need money or whatever. Just send it. As soon as it gets on the shelf, send it. They do, don't they? The red and gold looks really sharp. Really does. Really does. So, is there anything else? I think I'm going to wrap this up. If you feel so inclined to help out the channel, I have a Patreon. You can send $1 my way. I get 77 or 72 cents of that. So you're not, it's not much. I have nothing to offer for that. I can't give away Hot Toys figures for that, but it just helps out. I'm not rich. I blow my money on this. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't have a dog that requires $100 worth of dog food every week. So this is my hobby. If you're welcome to contribute. I'd appreciate that very much. Like, subscribe. I have Facebook, but I don't do anything with it anymore. I'm so sick and tired of Facebook and all that. These individuals that stormed the Capitol a few weeks ago, they're going to jail because of their Facebook posts. Keep that in mind. I don't promote what they did at all. So don't think for one second that I'm all about committing treason against our country or trying to kill people or whatever. No way. I agree to the right to protest, but there's a right and a wrong way to doing it. So, but Facebook is how these people are getting found out and caught and being sent to jail. So social media is bad. Tell your friends where they can go to see 16 Scale News and Reviews. Come right here, and I will see you all next week. Thank you very much for spending your day with me, and you all have a good day. I love you. Peace. See ya on the next video.